So dear students, today as you can see we are starting with marriage and women. So this is the marriage season. It's not a difficult thing to understand how important is marriage to our lives. Both boys and girls, you know that ଏବେ ମ୍ୟାରେଜ୍ ସିଜନ୍ ଚାଲିଛି ବାହାଘର ଋତୁ ତ ସବୁଆଡ଼େ ବାହାଘର ଚାଲିଛି so you know that how important is marriage for any individual for that matter. So but even then, when I say that marriage is a big thing, marriage is a life-changing event, marriage is something that in Indian scenario we say that big fat marriages, that means we have lots of celebrations, lots of festivities in and around the marriage ceremony. Somewhere else also it's a very long ceremony. So the marriage that is in a way the beginning of a new kind of life. तमें दी पुओ झील उभय समस्ते जानिच जे मैरेजटा गोटे एमती जिनस आम लाइफ रे जोटा गोटे बहुत बहुत गुड़ाए चेंज नहीं कि आसे फॉर सम पीपल इट ब्रिंग्स वेरी गुड थिंग्स एंड फॉर सम पीपल वी हैव टू कीप इट इन माइंड दैट फॉर सम पीपल मैरेज कैन ऑल्सो बी वेरी बैड वेरी वर्स. So marriage can bring whatsoever things possible for some people, and particularly in South Asian countries and why South Asian countries, we can say also world over, for women marriages are something which brings more changes in their lives. What are those more changes and why for women marriages are something you can say that something very important, something more important than it is for the boys. So you are boys and girls, you both are here, you can realize, you can comprehend, you can observe, you can imagine how marriages are done in our country. So if I say that due to marriages women it brings a lots of changes, then let us understand, let us discuss what are the changes that come along with a marriage in the women's lives. So they have to change their living places. That is the number one. We know that in our country, particularly when a girl is getting married, then mostly in most part of her country she has to go to her in-laws house. That means there is a change in the location. With changing location, she also has to change her family. She has to start living with completely new people. So it brings a lots of expectations for her or from her on the part of the in-laws family also. So sometimes we have heard that it is said that घरु जेतले विदा कला बेले कन्या को बापा माने झियो मान को माँ माने बापा माने कहंदी जे तमे तो दुही कुलर हिता हेकरी काम करिवो. So for women marriage brings lots of burden in terms of not only in terms of physical activities but also in terms of psychological changes and cultural changes. So when she goes to another's family, then she has to accommodate with a new set of customs and traditions, and also social duties and responsibilities are completely changed. So when social responsibilities and duties are completely changed, then it is something that if you go to someone other's place to live, just forget about marriage. If anyone goes to other's place to live in inside a house for some time, over some time, then they have to accommodate with their own, with that family's tradition, with that family's conditions. So in that way, a girl while getting married, then in a way she is getting agreed to change her address, to change her family, to change her all the habits, customs, traditions that she is brought up with. And in the meanwhile, it is observed that that doesn't only bring these changes to women's life, women are also seen in a subsidiary position to men. So why marriages, why am I saying repeatedly that marriages are only changes, bringing more changes in women's life, why not in men's life? On the other hand, if we realize that we can know men are staying with their own families, that family becomes theirs with which they are born and brought up, and it is their family forever. and it is their place, their house, where the women go and they have to adjust with that. So in between there comes somewhere, and mostly in most parts of our country, of the world, we see that there is a hostile attitude towards the women who are entering into their families, to the daughter-in-laws, you can say, to the women who are coming into a new family through the tradition of marriage, through the institution of marriage. Institution of marriage has, you can see, has lead to two kinds of culture, culture of violence and culture of silence. When I say that culture of violence and culture of silence, we have to keep it in mind, and you can, if you imagine, then you can understand who is the culprit of this. कल्चर ऑफ भायोलेंस रे सब बेले आम जदि कहबा जे स्त्री लोकटा जतबे गोटे जगार झील जन्म होची बढ़ुची एवं सी आउ जन घर को जाऊँगी बाहाबाथ्रुरे जो सी आउ जन घर को जाऊँगी ता लाइफ पूरा पूरी भाव चेंज हो जाऊँगी एते बदल एते परिवर्तन आसुची जीवन रे जे से परिवर्तन भितर आम देखिपर जे तार निजर तार बढ़िबार जो बढ़िबा बेले जहाँ सब से कल्चर पाइला जहाँ सब ताको शिखाइला सब कथा आउ गोटे परिवार पहुँचला खेरी सब बदली जाऊँगी बहुत समय देखा जाऊँगी सी ए जो बहुत एक्सपेक्टेशन ताठू करा जाऊँगी सोशल ड्यूटीज आउ रोल से भितर से बहुत बेसी टर्चर्ड होकरी एमती देखा जाऊँगी स्त्री लोक मैंने बाहाला परे भायोलेंस रो शिकार होचंती. So marriage जदियो सब बेले not necessarily कि it's a violent relationship, but for most of the women it's not that conducive, it's not that welcoming situation in the in-laws house. जेहेतु जमती कि या पूर्वर कहुई तुमको जे आम घरे सब बेले आम परिवार मानकरे आम देश रे साउथ एशियन कंट्रीज मानकरे एवं बहुत गुड़ा देश रे आगुरी भी थिला गोटे सन प्रिफरेंस रही से सन प्रिफरेंसटा सब बेले बाहागर परे भी घर सदस्य मानक बाध्य कराए जे बोहू को टिके नीच करी देखिबा एवं तांको पुओ को अधिक गुरुत्व देबा. सो दैट इज हाउ द वुमेन बिकम साइलेंट. सो इट्स ए कल्चर ऑफ साइलेंस that whatever may be inflicted on her, if she is silent, then it's good. If she raises her voice against that violence culture, then somewhere or else she is known as not so good woman. So the good woman and the bad woman, ये जो आमे जितबले कहूचे जे बाहागर परे गोटे violence रो शिकार होचंदी महिला माने बेसी शिकार होचंदी महिला माने जेते बाहागर होची सेतरे सबु बेले जे सबुठी हिंसा देखा जाउची ता नुहे किंतु सबु बाहागर स्त्री लोक मानकर भूमिका बदली जाउची जीवन बेसी बदली जाउची एवं बदली जावा फल कौन होची ना बहुत समय देखा जाउची जे सेमानकर जीवन आउ टिके अधिक कष्टकर हो जाउची कौनसी कथारे इक्वल शेयरिंग नथिबा दृष्टिरु बिकॉज वी डू नॉट ट्रीट मेन एंड वुमेन इक्वली इन आवर सोसाइटी इन आवर फैमिली एंड इन आवर कम्युनिटी जेहेतु इक्वली आम समानता सहित समान व्यवहार आम करूना स्त्री लोक मानकु पुरुष लोक मानक सहित दैट इज व्हाई मैरिज also becomes you can say a point where the woman enters into more inequality. तार सब कौन कौन कारण हो पारे बोली आमे भाबिबा तार बहुत गुडे कारण अछि. What are the causes why the culture of violence is improving? कहीं हिंसा बढ़ुची स्त्री लोक मान कहीं बाहागर पर इमीडिएटली व्हाई द लाइफ ऑफ ए वुमन इज बीइंग कंप्लीटली चेंज्ड व्हाई इज सी एक्सपेक्टेड टू डू सो मेनी थिंग्स इन ए न्यू फैमिली एंड व्हाई इजंट सी ट्रीटेड विथ डिग्निटी एंड रेस्पेक्ट. वी आर ऑल बॉर्न एंड ब्रॉट अप इन फैमिलीज आम समस्त घर अच्छी परिवार अच्छी एवं से अनुसार आम समस्ते भी जानीचे जे घरे कौन कौन सब हुए घर भितर आम परिवार मान भितर दिस इज नॉट समथिंग which is completely new to us. So boys and girls, both of you, you all know that how the woman is being treated inside the family and why. So let us understand, let us explain, or let us understand why this happens. तार प्रथम कारण है the first and foremost सबुठु the most important cause is that the institution of marriage always treats a woman as subsidiary to men. इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ मैरिज रे सब बेले झील मानक टिके इनफीरियर करी देखा जाए पुओ मानक अपेक्षा वी आर ऑल आम समस्ते आकस्टम से प्रोसेस सहित वी ऑल नो द प्रोसेस एंड द फेनोमेनन ऑफ द टोटल प्रोसेस ऑफ द मैरिज हाउ पीपल कम टू सी ए गर्ल केमती झील मानक देखा आसती पुओ मैंने सो जिते गोटे बाहागर हवापाई कथबार्ता हुए से गोटे झील को देखा आसती पुओ मैंने एंड दैट डजंट हैपन वंस or once in a blue moon. That happens many times in a girl's life. That may happen so many times in a girl's life that it will lead to her completely mental you can say unhappiness. ताकू पूरा पूरा इतने mentally depressed भी हो जाई पारे को झियो. And why this happens? Because the girl in the institution of marriage, the girl is treated as a commodity. The girl is treated as a sellable commodity. The girl, when we treat women, when we show our girls to someone, and the groom's family and the groom come to see our girls, and then they will say that yes, we are agreed, yes, we choose your girl, or no, we don't choose your girl, or no, she is not beautiful, she is not enough competent for our family, she is not suitable for my family, she is not suitable for my son. These are very common comments which are coming on the girl when she is expected to show her face or expected to sit waiting for a groom's family. So this process is so much you can say so much disrespectful for the identity of a girl. And why this happen? Because a woman's choice and consent hardly play any role. We don't ask our girls that do you want to get married here or anywhere else, or do you have a choice of your own, or have you selected someone of your own choice to get married. Very rarely people ask this. Even today there are lots and lots of changes in the society, and you being the young boys and girls, you are expected to bring these changes. And there are lots of campaigns, lots of government and non-government agencies are being engaged in campaigning, in advertising, and also in protesting these age-old practices. But still we are there, that still in some parts we are even there, that the girl is treated as a commodity, that the girl's consent pays no value at all. And also I told you that the major reason is that institution of marriage always treats women inferior to men. The second thing is that a woman's choice and consent hardly play any role. Then early marriages create problem. From these things, from this discussion, you can understand how the marriages are happening in our society. So if you are not, you have not reached 18, or if you have reached 18 but you are not in a mental stage to get married, you are not ready to get married mentally, or you are not prepared to get married, then also your consent or your no doesn't play any role in a marriage. Girls no doesn't play in any role in a marriage. And also early marriages create lots and lots of problems. Which is an early marriage? We will also discuss about early marriages in our next class. But which is an early marriage? An early marriage means a marriage which takes place before the girl is 18 and the boy is 21, at least in our country. So these are the legal ages for marriage in our country. And जदि काहाकू 18 वर्ष हेनी से झील को आम बाहा कर दौचे ताहले तो समस्या आहुरी बेसी कहीं 18 वर्ष न हवा पूर्व ना तो से देहरे ना तो से मनरे कोठी भी से प्रस्तुत नुहे बाहा हवा पाई किंतु आमे जेतु तार मतामत को तार स्वीकृति को गुरुत्व दौ ना से आमे ताको बाहा कर दौचे और इंस्टीट्यूशन ऑफ मैरिज भीतर को पूरी दौचे. सो बॉयज यू हैव टू आल्सो थिंक अबाउट दिस दैट इफ यू गेट मैरिड to someone who is below 18, then what will be her mental condition without any preparation, without any consent? If she enters into marriage ताले problem बेसी हबो कि नहीं. एक तो से ता देहरे प्रस्तुत नुहे for motherhood, for biological changes coming after the marriage, she is not prepared. ପୁଣି ଗୋଟେ 18 ବର୍ଷରୁ କମ୍ ଝିଅ ବା ଛୋଟ ପିଲା ଆମେ ସବୁବେଳେ ଦେଖୁଛେ अर्ली ମ୍ୟାରେଜେସ୍ କହିଲେ ଯଦିଓ ଲିଗାଲି 18 ବର୍ଷରୁ କମ୍କୁ ବୁଝାଉଛି ବଟ୍ ଦେୟାର ଆର୍ ଅଲସୋ अर्ली ମ୍ୟାରେଜେସ୍ ହାପେନିଂ ଇନ୍ ମେନି ପାର୍ଟସ୍ ଯେଉଁଟାକି ତାଠୁ ବି ବହୁତ ଛୋଟ ଏଜ୍ର ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କୁ ବାହାଘର କରିଦିଆଯାଉଛି ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେମିତି ବାହାଘର କରିଦିଆଯାଉଛି ଯେ ନାଇଁ ଆମେ ଝିଅକୁ ବାହା କରିଦେବୁ କାହିଁକି ନା ଦ गर्ल्स आर considered as liabilities so the parents mostly they want to get rid of that liability by hook and crook as soon as possible also though the things are changing very fast in our country and in our state particularly but even then it's an age old tradition and it will take quite some time to be completely changed that ଯେତେବେଳେ ବାପା ମା ମାନେ ବାହାଘର କରିଦେବା ପାଇଁ ବ୍ୟସ୍ତ ହେଉଛନ୍ତି अर्ली ମ୍ୟାରେଜ୍ ସେତେବେଳେ ହୁଏ ଏବଂ अर्ली ମ୍ୟାରେଜ୍ ବହୁତ ପ୍ରକାରର ଆହୁରି ସମସ୍ୟା ତିଆରି କରୁଛି ଏବଂ अर्ली ମ୍ୟାରେଜ୍ରେ ଥିବା ଝିଅ ଉପରେ ଭାଓଲେନ୍ସ ବେଶୀ ଅଧିକା ହେଇପାରେ ଦ ଭାଓଲେନ୍ସ ଇଜ୍ ଇନଫ୍ଲିକ୍ଟେଡ୍ ମୋର୍ when a girl in the marriage is very young I mean she is not even 18 so she doesn't know how to protect herself she is not ready to protect herself and in that case she is so tender and she is so small that she is physically also hurt it's easy to it's easy to inflict violence on her so that creates lots more problems then the girl is often regarded as a you can say marketable commodity that is what I said that is what I also mentioned earlier that marketable commodity करके झील को सजा होता है झील को रखा होता है आम समाज जो ये व्यवस्था जो झील मान को सजासजी करके नेबे जनक आग को गोटे अननोन फैमिली आसीथिबो ताकू देखिबा पई ताकू रिजेक्ट करिवार अधिकार से मानकर थिबो से जो द होल प्रोसेस ऑफ कन्या देखा द होल प्रोसेस ऑफ शोइंग आवर गर्ल्स टू अदर्स फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ गेटिंग मैरिड से पूरा पूरी भाव से प्रोसेसटा ही गोटे झील पई बहुत बेसी खराब लगे एवं it is also a kind of mental violence when I say culture of violence it doesn't always mean that someone throws acid or someone beats someone or someone physically hurts someone violence can also be mentally violence can also be done to the girls psychologically violence can also lead to the psychological to the deteriorating psychological condition of the girl so when we consider the girl as a marketable commodity then this violence is much more so then also heavy dowry is demanded from the groom's family in marriages are becoming day by day marriages are becoming like challenges for our girls boys and girls you know that there is dowry and who claims the dowry the dowry is being claimed by the groom and his family in if the girl's family are even not in a position to fulfill all the needs of the groom's family they want to collect the things by any way just to get rid of the girl जदि कोठी भलो प्रस्ताव आछि ताहले अर्ली मैरेज कर दोचंती जदि कोठी झियो पई बेसी बहुत गुडे जौतुक दाबी कले मध्य माँ बापा माने जौतुक देइकरी बाहागर करूचंती देयर आर सो मेनी लॉज आम देश रे एते आईन कानून अछि बट द नीड ऑफ द आवर इज टू स्प्रेड द awareness about the laws against dowry you will also come to know in due course of time about dowry as a special part and then we will discuss about dowry related laws also but the groom's family claims lots of dowry at the time of the marriage that creates a kind of violence in the mind of the girl that if someone is taking dowry for getting married to me then naturally I will think that my value is less than his value that is why he is claiming dowry to get married to me so that also creates a kind of psychological violence then you can say her views are not at all valued in marriage negotiations girls views are not at all they are not taken into consideration so starting from the point where a proposal is coming mostly in our country proposed marriages are more popular so when and in India marriage is known as a link between families as a relationship between families so much so that if the son is not married he is not allowed to do many karmas in Hindu religion particularly the son is not allowed to do the panchajagya they say that the Panchajagya of life, which is very important for a son, he is not allowed to do that if she is not getting married. तार बहु न आसवा पर्यंत पुओ मानकु जो हिंदू धर्म अनुसार जिते प्रकार काम अच्छी जिते प्रकार रिचुआल्स अच्छी से गुड़ा सब करने दिया हुए एमती कि जो श्राद्ध भाया जो काम अच्छी से भी बहु बसिले ही पुओ को से काम करने दिज्व. सो पीपल वेट फॉर गेटिंग मैरिड टू गेट ए वाइफ so that they can perform all these rites, all these things. ये सब रिचुअल्स करने अपेक्षा करिया पड़े पुओ मानक जो जाए से मैंने बड़ होना बाहा होना से जाए से सब कर्म करें. बट इमेजिन इफ the place of the bride is so important that a single man cannot perform even the traditional rituals without the wife, then how is it that that wife is being tortured in many ways when she enters into married life? यही कथाटा आम समस्ते भाविबा कथा जे जो झीपाई जो बोहू अपेक्षा करी घर श्राद्ध घर बहुत गुड़ाए कर्म सब बाकी रही है जे बोहू आसिले ही कर विदाउट बोहू पुओ करने संभव नुहे. एत सब कथा सत्वे से बोहू आसला केमिति भायोलेंस शिकार होची. आम समाज रे जदिओ ट्रेडिशनली मैरेज रे स्त्री लोक मानू एत बेसी किसी बहुत कम गुरुत्व दि जाए ना बा ट्रेडिशनल हाउसेस मानकर ट्रेडिशनल स्क्रिप्चर्स अनुसार एत बेसी किसी बाहाघरटा स्त्री लोकों बर्डन हो नथिला. विथ द चेंजेस इन टाइम इट केम टू आवर फैमिलीज. आम फैमिली को ये सब विभिन्न समय विभिन्न असुविधा जो विभिन्न प्रकार प्रभाव विभिन्न प्रकार सभ्यतार प्रभाव आम देश को यह सब कथा आसी. सो यही सब कथा जेहेतु आम देश को आसी एवं यही सब कथा सत्वे एबे भी आमर भारत वर्ष रे एबे भी आम देश रे आम परिवार रे आम समाज रे मैरिज रो गोटे बहुत स्पेशल प्लेस अच्छी. बाहाघर रो गोटे बहुत स्वतंत्र स्थान रही. एवं तुम मैंने समस्ते जानिच जे गोटे पर्टिकुलर बयस हैला परे चाकरी हो सारा परे मध्य यदि मैरिज न होई थाए ताहले समस्ते व्यस्त होती मैरिज करने पे. एंड आई विल आल्सो नॉट फॉरगेट टू मेंशन ए वेरी सिंपल थिंग दैट झील मान को पर्टिकुलरली विथ चेंजेस ऑफ टाइम्स द parents who are even allowing their girls to cherish or to live according to their own passion, to live their dreams, even in those families बहुत उच्च वर्गर परिवार जोठी पॉवर्टी नाही बा जोठी बहुत बेसी जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी आखि को देखा जाए नहीं से सब स्थान मानकरे मध्य देयर इज जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी. सेठी इनइक्वाल ट्रीटमेंट सेठी मध्य अच्छी केमती अच्छी ना जमती गोटे बहुत इम्पोर्टाट कथा एवं आम सब बेले से कथाटा शुणा पाऊँ. दिस इज नॉट समथिंग वेरी न्यू दैट आई एम सेइंग टू यू. तुम पिला सब बेले शुणी ये कथाटा जे हाउ मच द गर्ल इज क्वालिफाइड. जिते क्वालिफाइड होता जिते जी जिते क्वालिफाइड होकि आसी आम जो झीटा जो चाकरी कर जापर आम समाज झील को प्रश्न करे परिवार झील को प्रश्न करे व्हेन आर यू गोइंग टू गेटिंग सेटल्ड. तुम केते सेटल होगा जाऊँ दैट मीन्स सेटलमेंट इन life brings for a girl only through settlement in life is brought for a girl only through the institution of marriage. So institution of marriage this is so much so important for both boys and girls. दुई जन जाक बहुत गुरुत्वपूर्ण कहीं आम गोटे नुआ जीवन आरंभ करूँ. दुई जन जाक गुरुत्वपूर्ण है बेले स्त्री लोकों मैरेजटा एत बेसी भायोलेंस होची एत बेसी टर्चरिंग होची एत बेसी असुविधाजनक होची एवं सबू मैरेज बर्डनटा द ब्रंट ऑफ द मैरेज इज ऑन द गर्ल्स. इफ द आफ्टर द मैरेज if there is no coordination between the couple, then sometimes the girls are also being made responsible for that. Mostly the society shows its finger towards the girl that you are responsible for a broken marriage. So the marriages which are also considered as very sacred इन आवर सोसाइटी आम परिवार मानकरे आम समाज रे आम देश रे जो मैरेज को बहुत पवित्र बोली कहा जाए. पर्टिकुलरली इन हिंदू रिलीजन अकॉर्डिंग टू हिंदू रिलीजन मैरेज भी बहुत माने बहुत गुड़ाए कथा उन्मुक्त कराए पुरुष मानक पई. विदाउट मैरिंग पुरुष माने बहुत कथारू वंचित होती. बहुत जगह गोटे पर्टिकुलर सोशल स्टाटस रु वंचित होती. गोटे सामाजिक व्यवस्थार विभिन्न प्रकार जहाँ सब आशा करा से सब आज ए कपल आशा करा जाए. मे बी perhaps this has been in our tradition that when we give the importance to a couple. If as a couple we will get respect, then that should have reduced the burden on the girls. But on the contrary, what we are seeing today, irrespective of so much campaigns, irrespective of so long drives, irrespective of advertisements, irrespective of government's repeated attempts, we are seeing that marriage is bringing a violence culture for women. And we as young people, we should expect from the younger generation that we as people who are continuously voicing against these things, we expect from you both boys and girls, आमे भाबुचु जे तमे माने जेतबेले तमे माने मैरिज इंस्टीट्यूशन संगे इंटरैक्ट करिवो तमे माने जेतबेले फ्यूचर रे जेतबेले बोथ बॉयज एंड गर्ल्स जेतबेले बाहागर हुए जेतबेले बाहागर सहित इंटरैक्ट करिवो देन द फर्स्ट थिंग इज दैट डोंट डिमीन द गर्ल्स पोजीशन इन ए मैरिज. दैट इज द फर्स्ट वे to ensure that the culture of violence is coming to an end in our society. If we do not stop seeing girls as commodity, if we do not stop, if we do not raise our voice against the dowry, that there is let me say you in a very simple line that there is the dowry protection law says that protection against dowry says that daba au naba jautuko douthuba au nouthuba ubhay सहज भाव कहले we will discuss it later on in detail. सहज भाव कहले उभय ही अपराधी किंतु से उभयंकर अपराध को जदि आमे अपराध बोली न भाविबा जदि जो जाय से सब कथा आईन रे जहा अछि सरकार जहा व्यवस्था करूचंती से जाय जो जाय आमे से सब कथा प्रचारित और प्रसारित न करिबा यथेष्ट भाव रे जो जाय से कथा तमे माने भलरे न बुझिबो से जाय मैरिज एमिति गोटे असुविधाजनक परिस्थिति झियो मानक पई तयारी करथुबो. एंड imagine if I will ask you that do you believe in creating a society, in creating a family with such an unequal relationship, with such a relationship that where the woman is not being given any dignity, where the woman is dishonored at each step. So that is how even that is how if that will be the situation जदि सेमिति हुए जे आमे जदि समस्ते एमिति गोटे मैरिज को सपोर्ट करिबा जोटा चाली आसीची जहाँ एबे भी किछि अंशरे आम देशरे मानकरे रहिछि आम देशरे अछि आम राज्य रे अछि किछि अंशरे जे मैरिज हैला माने आमे इफ वी ओपन द पेजेस ऑफ द न्यूज़पेपर्स इफ वी सी द visual media if we see the TV if we watch the TV each day we can see how much problems dowry is bringing केते समस्या डाउरी आनुची केते समस्या अर्ली मैरिजेस आनुची एवं केते केते झियो ए जो वायलेंस रो शिकार होचंती जदि आमे समस्ते ए विषय चिंता न करिबा जदि आमे समस्ते ए मैरिज भलिया गोटे पायस इंस्टीट्यूशन बोली आमे जहा को कहूचे फैमिली लाइफ स्टार्ट करिया पई जोटा गोटे लाइसेंस बोली कहूचे जोटा आम देश रे जहा को बहुत हाईली रिगार्ड करा जाए जदि आमे गोटे सेमितिया इंस्टीट्यूशन को वायलेंस फ्री न then there may come a time when girls will deny to get married. तापरे कौन हबो situation. So don't see the girls as commodity. Don't objectify the girls. Don't think that girls are inferior to boys. Girls have their own rights to life and girls are equal partners. They should be treated as equal partners in marriages, in the institution of marriage. The institution of marriage is a basic institution where men and women are given the license, the social license to start living together, and that is the starting of also a family. So if that will not be gender equal, if equality will not be there, if that will not be gender equal, जदि सेठी आमे जदि लिंगर समता न देखिबा सेठी जदि आमे झियो मानकु तांकर कंसेंट न पचारिबा जदि झियो मानकु कमोडिटी भलिया देखिबा जदि बाहागर को लागि जेते जाक सब बाज्य प्रथा अछि झियो देखा प्रथा जदि ए सब विरुद्ध रे आमे जदि आम स्वर उत्तोलन न करिबा ताले पिला माने मैरिज आम देश रे हुए तो झियो गोटे समय आसीबो जदि मैरिज को आ कोनोसी प्रकार सामाजिक स्वीकृति रो गोटे रास्ता बोली भाबिबा नै मैरिज को आ कोनोसी प्रकार सेक्रेडनेस अटैच करा जाय परिबो नै मैरिज सहित बा marriages will not be acceptable to women and people who are not poor, women who are not living in poverty ridden societies, women who are not lacking giving facilities or opportunities to get educated. Women who have their own dreams and passions, they may strictly say no. So that day will not be far away if marriages are not protected from all these bad things. So boys and girls, please raise your voice against these bad practices. Please don't see girls as inferior in a marriage. Please don't see girls as commodities in a marriage, and you should start it from your own life. Girls, you should realize the position of girls and women, and you should start it from your life, your own life. And boys, on the other hand, you should also equally protest these bad practices which are there in our society. Thank you very much.